All right, let's start off with our first big story. The management of University of Lagos has exonerated Television Continental, TVC, from reports linking it to the prosecution of some students.
Absolutely. The students were in TVC premises on peaceful protest over the rustication of a visually impaired student, Lawrence Success, for criticizing the institution's management.
Of course, they were arrested by the police and charged to the Oshodi Magistrate Court through the orders of the University of Lagos.
It has now become a culture to cow dissidents in the University of Lagos. Standing right before you speaking is Adeyeye Olorunfemi, who was rusticated for 4 semesters for posting an article on Facebook. Just as well, we thought everything is still going to go down. Now another student, a student activist who has received his certificate at the University of Lagos. In fact, this is the first time I would hear that a student who has a graduate is still is being rusticated.
That's false. It's not TVC. That's false. They came in and they were accosted. In the university system, once you are rusticated, you are not expected to be on campus. And we have our security personnel monitoring everybody. They came in with a bus from Tai Shola University, specifically. And we have our security men around. We don't have right to arrest. They contacted Sabo Police Station, and Sabo Police Station came in, and they played their roles.
All right, joining us now is the Secretary, Save Unilag Coalition, Juwon Sonyaolu. He is the Secretary of that Alliance of Nigerian Students Against Neoliberal Attacks. All right, it's good to have you on the show this morning, Juwon. Now, Save Unilag Coalition, I'm just wondering, why exactly was it necessary to, come up with this coalition called Save Unilag Coalition? And maybe you should walk us through the genesis of, what has led to this crisis within you students and the university authorities.
Okay. Good morning once again. Yeah, actually, the whole scenario, began with students of the University of Lagos protesting bad welfare condition on campus. It's a welfare condition that sees hostel as the hostel students are supposed to live. Where students paid exorbitant fee of about 26,000 naira as hostel accommodation charges, and then you cramp. Those students are forcefully cramped in a room that normally should accommodate that can barely accommodate even 4 students. So so 20 students are forced, to stay in that horrific condition.
20 students in a room that's
20
meant
students
for
in a
5.
room that normally should be a room meant for about 5 students. You get, and we have a situation where the university cannot even boast of 8 hours power supply. In a university that is supposed to be established in 1962. I think you should know how disgraceful it is. In fact, in other senior climes, we have a situation whereby the university should be capable of generating its own form of electricity. Of course, these are some of the reflection of the wretchedness of the Nigerian society too, at large. But for goodness sake, we are talking about a university. Where does if development in any nation cannot proceed out of the university gates, then we are in crisis, a deep mess to be precise. So, poor power supply, erratic water supply, where students most time will go 3-4 days without having their bath.
Well, sorry to interrupt you. You talk about 20 students being cramped in one single room, and students not taking their bath because of irregular water supply of water. Is this not an exaggeration?
No, I think you need to visit the University of Lagos yourself, because you are pressmen, and you can carry out an arbitrary interview, from students. You will discover that these students live in abject condition, where but despite living in this horrific condition, you know, the university management had forcibly cowed them into silence with ridiculous indemnity. For instance, now the students protested this terrible conditions of living, you know, and eventually all they were met, rather than the university addressing this issue.
How did this issue move away from students protesting the living conditions in the school to a rustication of some students, Adeyeye Olorunfemi, for example, and you know, people like that.
Okay, so during the course of the protest, which lasted for about 2 days.
Okay, you know what? I will allow you to respond to that. We need to take a break now.
Okay.
And when we come back, yes, it's our first break on the show. Stay with us. We're looking at the UNILAG authorities face-off.
All right, this is TVC Breakfast. Of course, we are looking at the face-off between rusticated students and the authorities of the University of Lagos. And we have with us here Sonyolu Juwon. That's, of course, it's of the Save UNILAG Coalition. You asked him a question earlier.
Yes, indeed. And I was asking, you know, how come the whole issue of students pressing for better welfare degenerated to school authorities actually rusticating or even expelling some students. How did this happen?
Okay. Well, it's a barbaric act myself. I've asked myself time and again. You know, after students protested because they wanted the lights and the water, you get it? Management shipped in armed policemen into the campus to forcefully repress students who are just armed with placards, and subsequently shut down the campus, arbitrarily banned the students' union.
Are you saying there was no violent...
it was a peaceful protest.
Violence from you students? Because the school authorities are claiming, you know, some kind of vices, malpractices.
Nothing broken, nothing was destroyed.
Smoking Indian hemp.
That's a blatant lie. You know, the protest of April 4 to April 6, nothing was destroyed. Nothing was broken. The students just merely gathered at the university campus gates, you know, and they were protesting.
All right, Juwon.
So, and subsequently, after a ban was placed on their union, the management put together a vindictive disciplinary panel, and eventually the panel eventually rusticated 11 students, including a student that just expressed his view on Facebook. How do you explain that?
All right, Juwon, you just confirmed you aren't a student of the University of Lagos. So how are you sure that you haven't been misinformed of the things happening within the UNILAG environment? Okay,
fine. Like I said earlier, what we have is a coalition after the union was placed under ban, and the students of the institution were forced to sign an unconstitutional form. They call it indemnity form, which means that students are not obliged to talk even when conditions affect them negatively and adversely. And eventually, you know, well-meaning civil society organizations, students, you know, from different institutions came together that, what kind of barbaric act is going on in a first generation university? Then we have a coalition marched together from education rights campaign. No, the Alliance of Nigerian Students Against Neoliberal Attacks. We had NANS JCC Lagos, who is also supposed to be, here with me today, and and host of other civil society organizations who came together.
You are from University of Obafemi Awolowo University.
So, and we all came together, and in the spirit of solidarity, in which the Nigerian students movement and the working class movement, for instance, is known for, and in order to understand actually what is the situation. And in regards to that, we wrote a letter. We wrote letters, to the university management, trying to seek their side of the story, which they didn't respond. But in addition to that, we had a full document, of accounts of how the ODU started as given by the General Secretary of Student Union. In addition to the fact that we were also part of the protest in the University of Lagos. that the April 4 to April 6 protest.
2016.
Yeah, when the protest was actually staged, because it's protest of Nigerian students. UNILAG students are members of NANS, the Nigerian students. So it's a struggle for all Nigerian students, non-isolated.
All right, now, so are you saying that this is some way a means to shut down student unionism?
If you are in any institution, okay, if you are in any university that subverts freedom of speech as guaranteed by the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, especially at a time where they have a lot of skeleton in their cupboard, say for instance billions of naira, close to 3 billion naira now, that was earmarked as a product of the ASUU 2013 intervention fund. I think we are familiar with the 200 billion naira released by the federal government. You know, if you have a union asking questions such as those sensitive questions as to how is the university, resources, how are they managed, then you discover that such university, in order to shield itself, reverts into undemocratic policies of subversion.
Sometimes it's not what you do that really matters, but how you go about doing it, and that may have informed the university authorities' decision of rusticating the students or even expelling some of them. But let's find out what let's hear from the university authorities themselves, what they had to say about this case and how it got to this point.
There are various offenses: drug, examination malpractices, examination misconduct, and that I'm aware is a continuous exercise in the university.
All right.
Okay.
Well, you heard the registrar there, talking about some of the offences, some of the reasons for which these students were rusticated. Of course, smoking of marijuana, drugs,
exam
malpractice, and all of that. So,
of course, we are aware of close to about 100 students who are suspended for that particular offence. In fact, they were advertised on the pages of the.
So the authorities were right
that was an entirely different situation. You get it? There are some 11 students that were rusticated immediately after the protest, and two others again, including a blind student, a student who was blind, that was recently rusticated.
Okay, now, so how do you explain Adeyeye Olorunfemi, for example, the National Secretary of ANSA, right? Okay, yeah. Who went to the grounds of convocation at University of Lagos and grabbed a microphone from whoever was convening that particular ceremony? Was that proper on the part of a student who even has been, had been rusticated?
Okay.
Is there any grounds where such a thing would be allowed within the ivory tower, which you said that everything good should be happening within the university system, and if it's not going right within the system, then the society as a whole is in trouble?
You see, when we speak of humanity,
yes,
you get it. It's a question of emotion and probably little flaws in which we are defenseless against. But the question really on ground that we need to address is that let us assume without conceding that students, were in a way, as the management claimed, did not channel their demands properly. But it has not still removed something, which is the question of the demand. Till this moment, as the demand for better welfare in UNILAG has it been acceded to?
But how do you know?
Definitely not.
How do you know? How do you know they have not?
In case there was a protest staged for March 6. At the
of this year.
This year at the University of Lagos, and some of these demands are still about demands for not just reinstatement but restoration of humane living conditions on campus.
Let me come back to the question. Let me come back to the question I asked you.
I'm
going
there.
Conduct of a rusticated student going into a convocation ceremony and grabbing the microphone of the convener of that event. Was that the proper thing to do, in spite of what you know, whatever grouses you had, which may have been, you know, on good grounds in the first place.
Okay.
And the police authority, Wosheni, confirmed yesterday that the student himself, Adeyeye, has got a history
of violence,
you know, violent conduct.
You know, even at that, I will start from where you started with Mr. Fatai, you know, Owosheni, you know, who stated that the student has an history of violence. You see, I will even put it to him himself that himself has a terrible history of protecting, you know, violence, because really violence is when people express themselves in placards and you confront them with guns.
Is there any instance of where that happened?
Yes, it happened on the marches protest, the recent marches protest. It happened on the protest that rusticated the university students. So, but if really the Nigerian police force, you get it, and the Nigerian society are not looking into such bigger violence such as misappropriation of university fund, you get it, which were the demands of the students, and now focus on a student who was merely frustrated that he was rusticated for your first semester for demanding light and water.
All right, so let's put it on hold. We have to take another break, but be reminded our viewers on TVC Entertainment that you can continue to watch TVC Breakfast on TVC Nigeria on DSTV 418, GoTV 45 and Free TV 701.
And Star Times 270. And then, I beg your pardon, Star Sat, that is, 270, and Star Times 370.
Absolutely. Stay with us. Right, you're welcome back if you're just joining us. It's TVC Breakfast you're watching this Tuesday morning. Now, this crisis between the University of Lagos authorities and rusticated students is taking some turns and twists. Of course, some students were arrested, charged before a mobile court on 2-count charge of unlawful invasion and disruption of activities. Of course, the prosecutors claim that the invasion by the students was a ploy to stall the commencement of the school semester exam scheduled to begin April 3rd. Well, we have Sonyaolu Juwon, as Secretary Save Unilag Coalition. What the prosecutor said in court, is that really at the bottom or the root of this particular, you know, cause of violence by the students? Is it to disrupt the oncoming exams?
I think, you know, you and I can in fact answer that question. It's a good thing TVC stated that disclaimer, you know. So if we have a commissioner for police, we could make
the disclaimer that TVC did not call in the police to arrest students, because apart from you students, TVC is open to people who come to, you know, carry out peaceful protests. And so we have nothing against that. And that was what the authorities clarified. I'm going there. You know, what they accused the students of coming to do here in TVC was disruption, unlawful invasion. You get it? And if, like TVC confirmed, the students were peaceful. So if they had lied here, imagine the, you know, amounts of lies it would be easy for them to concoct in the gates of the University of Lagos. You know, so I think we should not even bother ourselves in that regard. So I think, you know, the commissioner for police himself, for defaming the names of innocent students, you get it, who are just on a peaceful protest, you know, shielding the okay, you know what? Let's find out what the CP of Lagos, the Commissioner of Police, Lagos State, Fatai Owosheni, had to say about this.
The fellow that led that group has an antecedent of violence, and that is why we need to take that preventive action. We shouldn't wait until he leads or he led the group into the TVC premises to make any trouble. A citizen arrest was made by the university security personnel, and in the complaint lodged by the university authority, it was also indicated that they were in TVC earlier. And I should now be asking the question, how did the police get to know? The police is everywhere, and you've also shown it. Were they not at TVC premises? The answer is yes, they were at TVC premises, and some people must have seen them there. That the complaint we got was that they were at TVC first before they went to the university campus.
All right, Juwon, that's the police head, Oshini, speaking there about the conduct of the antecedent of Adeyeye that has got an antecedent, relating to violence, another. But you tried to, are you in any way, trying to justify Adeyeye's, conduct? For instance, getting into a gathering at a university and trying to grab a mic, from one of the speakers there. Is that, even if you are frustrated as a student, is that a proper way to channel your protests?
Okay, let us look into Adeyeye Olorunfemi, the condition that led him into rustication. I think we are familiar with it.
No.
Okay. If the definition of violence is writing on your Facebook wall that you are against the university way of managing resources, and you just expressed yourself as a Nigerian, you get it, and that brought you rustication, then I think we need to look into who is really the orchestrators of violence. You get, so I think in this situation, the culprits and the masters of violence, in fact, it's initiators. It's the management of the University of Lagos. So what I'm trying to point out here is that, so if the CP says the students has an history, of violence, I also put it to university management that for years too, the university itself has had an history of violence, because if in the due to the poor welfare conditions, I think in 2014, for instance, a student died was selected by poor wiring, electrocution. How do you define such violence? And yet, we agree that government underfunds education. We can agree on that. But out of the little, much is stolen.
Before things degenerated.
Sorry, Ngozi. Okay. If you go to Unilag as we speak now, you see that the structure itself has been given a facelift. That I know very well. So how do you know that the other demands by the students are not being attended to?
In Obafemi University, for instance, there was a period we wanted to hold Nuga game. You get it, it's 2014. They went ahead and go and paint the Ezekiel Oluwasomi Library and painted White House. The obvious, they do it a lot in Nigeria. The obvious building when you just enter, wow, a lot of things is going on. But going to their toilets, going to the rooms, those are the real demands. We have this ridiculous tradition in Nigeria of putting facelift rather than treating the real condition. As the water stopped being erratic, is the power supply consistent for a university that is supposed to be running an academic program?
Now, the question I want to ask, Juwon, as much as, of course, one understands the situation of the students, but we can only play the devil's advocate here. Like you said earlier, what is happening within the ivory tower of Unilag or any other school is a reflection of what is happening in the larger society. But before things degenerated to this point, was there any kind of attempt to have some kind of sit-down, a face-to-face with the university authorities in such a way that you put your demands, before them, and they gave you any kind of reassurance or assurances that, look, we're going to look into these issues that you have raised and try to meet you halfway? Was there anything like that?
It is an act of insanity for any union at all, whether students or staff, to start a protest without engaging the other party in discussion. At least I have never experienced it. The General Secretary had a whole 14-page compilation of the synopsis of meetings they had with the University Vice Chancellor. We started around April 1st. They had one April 1st, April 2nd, where they tabled all of these demands. You get it? Through April 3rd. So, but despite that, you know, the situation got worse. And students just decided to go on a peaceful procession to the Dean of Student Affairs.
All right.
You get it? So that was the genesis of this whole issue. So rather than the management, like I said earlier, acceding to just, isn't it right for people to demand light and water?
Now that things are this way, what's the next line of action for you students, especially the coalition? You Save Unilag coalition?
Well, these are our demands, and we'll make it explicit. You know, the number one, without deviating from the real issue, or in the first instance on the immediate, states that the students, you know, who are Nigerian students, these students here comprise of not just say I don't know, whoever is the university PRO, who just got in, have made a very wrong statement. People who are arrested were students mobilized from different campuses too, including the students of the University of Lagos. You get what I'm trying to say? So it is we demand the immediate release of these students and the immediate removal of the Commissioner of Police himself. For no, really. Because what he did, sorry, I'm going to say my point.
Commissioner of Police into this?
Yes, because the accusation on the student was false. You get it? So, and immediately, but without, like I said, without deviating from the real issue, we also demand that the right to independent student unionism should be restored back to that campus. Reinstatement of the then 11 and now 13 rusticated students in the University of Lagos, and restoration of humane living condition on that campus.
All right, so, all right.
And sorry, let me make this last remark.
Yes. Yeah, go on.
Okay, let me make this last remark. And they said we are also using this point to call on all staff union, workers union that for a very long time have kept quiet on this reign of impunity in the University of Lagos. It's high time everybody come to the table and come to address this absurdity in our respective universities and tertiary institutions.
All right. Yeah. Sonyolu Juwon of the Save Unilag Coalition, we must thank you very, very much indeed for coming to share your thoughts with us on this issue.
And we can only hope that peace returns between the students and, of course, the university authorities, and that you students will comport yourself in a way that you will not, put your case forward in a bad way, in spite of the fact that you do have grounds for your grievances. Thank you so much for coming on the show. All right, there's a lot more coming your way on TVC Breakfast. You want to stay with us?